Janice, what is China doing to build up a relationship with the Taliban? What would that even look like?
Well, China had been laying the groundwork already. Just over 2 weeks ago, the foreign minister hosted talks with a Taliban delegation led by Mullah Baradar. China has economic interests that it's looking to protect. They have big investments in infrastructure, in mining, as well as oil. The Taliban also sees the economic benefit of cooperating with China, especially with the Belt and Road Initiative through Central Asia. But for China, what's driving these warming ties is security. It fears extremism in the western part of the country in Xinjiang. It's how they have justified a crackdown and the detention of hundreds of thousands of Uyghurs. The Taliban did give security assurances to China at those meetings, saying that they would not allow fighters to use Afghan territory as a base for attacks inside China. The problem for China, of course, is that having a radical militant group take over a country is seen as inherently threatening. There are also concerns about an inspiration effect that a Taliban resurgence could have regionally. So for now, China is not outright recognizing the Taliban as the legitimate government of Afghanistan, but they are recognizing that the Taliban is in power. And in that sense, they appear ready to extend at least cautious support, and they're among the few countries to do so.
Ian, do you buy this? China is a superpower, and they just watched a rogue force oust the Afghan government. There's no way they're cool with that.
They're not cool. They wanted the Americans to stay because the Americans are paying for it, and it was maintaining a level of stability. The likelihood that the Taliban take over the country, as we saw, very high. The likelihood they can keep it, that they can actually maintain some sort of stability and not have a failed state that becomes warlordism, that becomes a haven for massive extremism, for lots of refugees, some of which China would also have to deal with, destabilizing the region. That's a serious problem for China. And I actually think one of the things the Biden administration should have done, knowing that the Chinese really didn't want us to leave, was say, look, we're getting out, but if you were to bring peacekeepers in, maybe we could engage in drone strikes or provide some humanitarian aid or support. I mean, at least have the conversation so that when the Chinese say no, we can proximately blame them for saying, well, the Chinese didn't care about you. Like they weren't interested in doing anything either. You don't want all of this on Biden. And that's kind of a problem we now face with both the Chinese as well as with the allies.
Well, Russia said they would benefit from the Taliban being in power. What does that mean for them?
It means they benefit from some chaos in the region. Remember, the Russians are the second largest arms exporter in the world after the United States, even though the Russian economy is not even the size of Italy. And so, I mean, certainly a lot of the weapons that the Afghans will have going forward, aside from the ones they just stole from the United States and the Afghan forces, will be coming from Russia. A lot of the drug trade will be going through Russia. But I don't actually think that the Russians are happy with the potential for instability in Central Asia, which is a problem in terms of Afghan refugees by the now tens of thousands, but soon hundreds of thousands and millions that will be streaming through. So the Russians are the ones that most like the Americans to show that we're in decline, that we've really screwed up. They definitely want to see a weaker transatlantic relationship. That's what facilitated, for example, their gains in Ukraine. But on balance, there are very few around the world that really benefit, in terms of governments, that actually benefit from what's transpired over the last 72 hours.
European leaders were not trusting of former President Trump. They were hoping for more stability with Biden. But you said this is the worst foreign policy mistake since the Iran hostage crisis back in the 1970s. How much damage has this done to our credibility, especially with our allies in Europe?
Not the decision to leave. I actually think Biden's made very clear that the United States needed to go and that the status quo wasn't sustainable. But the execution of it, and in particular, the unilateralism. You have to remember, Stephanie, we've been fighting with our allies side by side for 20 years now. We're the ones that asked them to come in with us after 9/11, and they did so. And they spent a lot of money, and they lost a lot of lives. And the decision made by the Americans to leave was an Afghan policy review that was done completely by the Americans. The allies were no part of it. They were informed. And the intelligence failure on the ground is owned by the Biden administration. The fact that we left and the Taliban took over, and the airport was not secured, and those horrible photos we all saw yesterday of Afghans clinging on to an American transport plane and then plummeting to their deaths. The allies were no part of that. And I think that they do feel like American unilateralism here is much more consistent.